Are we good? Yeah. Hi, this is Steve McRae from Expert in All Legal Matters. I've been watching over the last 6 months or so when all this COVID-19 came out, and I've been watching everything that's getting been publicised through social media, the internet and whatever else. And I thought we'd just clarify a few facts, material facts and evidence. And I've actually brought a machine down, but we'll get into that in a second. About the rulings and what is detrimental to the health of the man or the woman. Now this is Health and Safety Executive, and you can see that quite clearly there. I'll read it to you. So it's the general hazards of carbon dioxide. Now carbon dioxide is something the body produces and has to exhale through the lungs. That means you exhale it out. So it's to do with breathing in oxygen, and then it going through all the body and the blood, and then it gets exhaled as carbon dioxide. Now the general hazards of carbon dioxide, and this is from the Health Safety Executive. So they're basically saying in GB, CO2, which is carbon dioxide, is classed as a substance hazardous to health under the Control of Substances Hazard to Health Regulations 2002. And it's right there. Tells you quite clearly what it is. Now, this brings in a good question about masks. Masks, and the wearing of masks, I might add. So, if you have something that's in close proximity to your airways, and you're trying to get oxygen back into your system, as for health, for living, for breathing, and something's restricting that, and not only is it restricting it, it's now stopping the CO2, carbon dioxide, leaving your body, which is now detrimental to your health. But I'm not going to expect you to take my word for it. I will actually get the machine off and turn it on, and then we'll do a demonstration. We can show you exactly what damage it actually wearing a mask actually does to the body, and it's not very good. Now this machine, there it is, and it quite clearly says on it it's for CO2. It checks CO2 gases. This is specifically what this is. Now I know there's plenty of videos on the internet and on YouTube and Facebook and all that saying about the oxygen level, about you exhaling and inhaling oxygen. I get that and understand that. I'm more concerned about the CO2 gases that you actually exhale out your body, because that is you've got to do that, otherwise you'll die. So we're going to do a demonstration. So I'm going to turn the machine on, so you can actually see it. So, and this has been calibrated already, but it will calibrate itself. It does a 30-second countdown, roughly, and then it'll recalibrate up to the air and oxygen and CO2 and everything in here. You'll be able to see that, Gary, if it's gone down to 0 and then kicks in and it opens up. It's 30 seconds roughly it takes it to calibrate. Once it turns on, then it'll reboot everything, because that's a sensor on the top. Okay then, right then. So at the moment the oxygen level is 21C. So oxygen that you need in your lungs is between 19.5 and 23.5. And as it says there, it's 21. So that's healthy, that's good. We're in you could say we're in a closed environment, but we've got the door open in the office, so it's good. And the CO2 gases, parts per million, is 600. There you go. So I'm just going to leave that there and just let it do its thing. Now then, let's go through the rulings to this, shall we? Standard country, 8 hours of average and 15 minutes of exposure. So under the rulings of the World Health Organization for the world, United Kingdom, USA and all the above, for working legally in an environment which would be warehouses, wherever else, they say that 5,000 parts per million is the maximum you can have. And there it is there. That is the legals to it. That is definitely the legals. But if we break it down further, because this is what I like, this is to do with the concentrations and the levels, and it gets broken right down and it tells you exactly what it's all about. And this is on the Health Exec. So the Health and Safety Executive, and this is for the United Kingdom, but they're all standard, so they're all basically the same. There is no change in that. So, concentration 250 to 350 parts per million. Normal background concentration outdoor amble air. Now we're not outdoor. And as it says quite clearly here, we're up at 595. So that would fall in the second bracket at 350 to 1000 ppm. Concentration typical of occupied indoor spaces with good air. I've got the door open. Absolutely correct. Spot on. Now if that goes above 1000, complaints of drowsiness and poor air. That's what that would say when that goes off. Now the alarm would go off in that if that was the case. So that's basically there. So if we get above 1000, which is right there guys and ladies, we now have a major problem. So it says 1000 to 2000 parts per million, complains of drowsiness and poor air quality. 2000 to 5000, headaches, sleepless, stagnant, stale, stuffy air, poor concentration, loss of attention, increased heart rate and slight nausea so be present. 5000, which is a legal requirement for working for 8 hours, workspace exposure limited to 8 hours TWA in most jurisdictions. You've got to love the word jurisdictions. You know how they say that? Legal jurisdictions. That's them legally stopping themselves getting sued. And 4000, exposure may lead to serious oxygen deprivation, obviously it would, resulting in permanent brain damage, coma and even death. And I'm not joking, it's there. It's all there. Now this parts per million reader only goes up to 9999. Right, because it's for close proximity. Obviously you need to spend a lot of money on a big one if you wanted to do over that to the 4000 and obviously if that was the case you'd be dead. So we don't want to go that, we just want to go over past 1000 really, and 5000 really. Well 9000 will cover that, because once it gets past any of these we're in serious trouble, so there we go. So that's it. So that's the legals to it, so in jurisdictions. And just to show you, there you go, we've got that as well. Right, this keeps everything right so you can see what it is and what damage it does to you. I'll put that there. Right then, so at the moment we're sitting at 479 and we're sitting at 20C, which is air quality, which is 20. So bear in mind 19.5 to 23.5 is a required legal limits for the human body for oxygen intake. So it does three things here, but we're only concentrating on the one on the left, which is the air oxygen, and the top right one, which is the CO2 gases. Okay, and we're sitting at 475, which is still high, but we'll get that. Okay then. So if I was to sit with this in my mouth now and just talk naturally, it should go up slightly. But bear in mind there is oxygen round about. Now I can't see if it's going up, but Gary can obviously see it if I'm talking, and it's doing it because I'm exhaling and breathing at the same time. So that is what's happening. There is CO2 coming out of my lungs and getting exhaled out. So it's going to pass a sensor, and then the sensor will pick up anything that's getting exhaled out, and then it'll dilute as it's going through with
it's now 990.
Right, so you hear that peeping now, you heard that peeping. Now that's telling me there's a problem, okay? It's saying there's a problem.
1295.
That's exactly correct.
1652.
Yep.
2152.
Yep.
25.
And this is just normal breathing, Gary. Yeah. I'm not doing anything different here. This is what I wanted people to understand. This thing only registers CO2 and oxygen. Now we're just sitting here naturally.
Yep.
We're talking
3645.
as soon as this thing gets the presence of CO2, which is naturally coming from me, and that's without a mask. I ain't wearing a mask. But we'll get to the mask in a second, but I just wanted to show everybody that this thing works. It really does tell you what it is, and it only registers CO2 coming out.
4722.
Yeah, so I'm nearly getting to the 5000. Do you understand where I'm going, Gary?
Yeah.
It's a 5000 level, because we're working now, Gary, so this is what it'll be classed as.
It's now 5000.
There we go. So we are now at the 5000 legal limit. Now if it goes above this now, we're only allowed to be exposed for 15 minutes. And this is just us naturally talking, working away here naturally, and we've already now broke the legal health and safety executive rules on close proximity to the CO2 exhaling through the body. Amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It no, really is amazing. I mean, I'm not dodging it. You can actually see what this thing's doing in itself, and it just because I'm you've got CO2 coming out of you, carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
I've got carbon dioxide coming out of me, and we've got the door open this at the back here, so there is air quality coming in. But this thing still registers CO2. It's all it registers, oxygen and CO2. That's all it does. The problem I've got now is when you put a mask on this, what do you think it's going to do? Do you understand where I'm going? Now, the evidence speaks for itself. This is calibrated. You've seen it count down its calibration. It's done its calibration test and it's working. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it away from my mouth now, put it to the side, and then we'll do the mask one. And then people can see that, hold on a minute, if you're exhaling oxygen at this moment, this thing's still going up. If you've got a mask on your mouth, where's it going? Because I'm going to stick it under the mask just to show them.
Yeah.
That's the only way they'll know it's going back into the lungs. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to put that down so it's dropping down slightly. So we'll cut it there, Gary. We'll stop it there a second. We'll pause it. Because I'm going for a cigarette, ladies and gentlemen. Ah, there. Back again now. Now that the machine's actually started calibrating down again now. So we're at now 600 and something roughly, Gary, I think.
Yeah, 689.
Yeah, and the air quality, which is oxygen, is 20.
Okay.
That's on the bottom left.
Yeah.
So you can all see it. So that's it. So it takes about 3 or 4 minutes for this thing to recalibrate itself because of the CO2 coming through. So I'm going to put a mask on. Now, there's loads of masks out there. Loads of masks out there. But I'll go for this one, which is the one they recommend you to get, really. And it's just a paper thing. It does absolutely nothing. They don't stop anything. But I just want to show you, because it's so light and so flimsy, if this thing can do damage, what do the heavy ones do to you? I.e., the proper fixed ones. Now bear in mind, I'll put this on and put this meter in there, and you're going to see this going off quite quickly. And that's what I wanted to show you, is because people now think you are obligated under jurisdictional law legislation to walk about and put these things on buses and now in shops and stores, when it is detrimental to your health, and then we can prove it. So it brings into question about your ministers and your prime ministers of whatever country you're in, and the health executive, and obviously the risk assessment to all this, because I've not seen a risk assessment. Nobody has. We've all asked for it, but we've never seen it. Same with all with COVID-19. We've all asked for it, Gary. We've sent the Freedom of Information's, the SARS out. We've sent everything out. We have nothing, no confirmation that COVID-19/SARS/COVID-2 is real. But yet they're expecting you all to get locked down in your houses, detrimental to health, and then doing all these things and just playing with you. They're actually playing with you. So we're going to put this on now. Love doing this job. I'm going to take my glasses off actually, because it's much easier. There we go. Right, so put it on all that there. Do that. You happy with that, Gary?
Yeah, you look like that mass murderer.
Aye. Hey then, so we're sitting running now at 5:01, Gary.
499, yeah.
Yeah. And 20 on there. So I'm going to put this under the mask, obviously. Exactly the same as what I did before. Right in front of my mouth talking. Obviously I'll pull it out just slightly so it's not on my lips, because it's moisture we don't want it touching. There we go. Get my hand away from it. Oh, it's rising up a little bit. There we go. That's a bit better. And we'll see what this does then. It's this.
Okay, 649.
Yeah, so I'll just hold it there, Gary. It's easier. Even though we're gap in it, it's going to go up quite quickly.
Yeah, 784.
Yeah.
941.
Yeah, it'll start beeping in a second. Like I said, it'll start beeping. Now bear in mind, I'm just going to sit here for a couple of minutes and see this thing rising. I want it to pass 5,000 really, to be fair, just to show you how detrimental this is to your health. And this is what you all really need to pay attention to. This is not a scam. This is not trickery. This is real. This is a real machine. We're doing this live in Gary's little office, and we need the public and everybody to understand that this wearing masks is definitely detrimental to your health, because you exhale CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and it's not good for you. And this is the lightest of all the masks. So anything covering your airways, CO2 must be going somewhere. It must be going back into me. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Is it going up, Gary? Is it up to 5,000 yet?
1840.
It's because there's a gap on it, isn't it? That's what it is.
1781.
Yeah. Just stop talking really and just let it do its thing.
$17.83 seems to be staying about that level.
Yeah, it's because I've got oxygen there though, isn't it? So it is escaping though, isn't it? That's the thing, it is definitely escaping. So hold on, if I do it that way.
1945.
It'll go up now. It's because there's air around me, you see. It's a big thing, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You see it?
25, 3,000, 3,600, 4,000, 100, 4,300, 4,422, 4,447, 439, 4,391, 4,274.
But it's because the air getting through and everything. It's still
4,480, 4,757, 4,620, 4,508, 4,388.
just because it's there, mate, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Not a lot we can do about that.
Hands over the top.
Oh, sorry, mate.
4, 9, something. 4, 8. Have to move your hand up a bit. 4, 7, 6, 6. Yeah, staying about 4, 7.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3, not 4, 7, 3, 7. 3, 8. 3, 900. 4,000. 4,100. 4,260.
It's because there's air getting out, that's all that is, mate. So yeah. I will pick her up, so just wanted to show them going up, that's all.
Yeah. 4,450, 4,580, 4,600, 4,700. It's gone off.
Yep. Because it's the sensors just got down and that's how we do it.
Yeah. So 4,700.
Yeah.
Was the biggest.
And I'm calculating it down now because it's gone off, so obviously it's gone past the triggers mechanism now. It's counting down now, Gary, to turn it on.
Yeah.
Because it cuts off.
Yeah, it's 19, 18.
And it should just tell you exactly what the last, it should come up and recalibrating this.
Three, 2, 1.
So it's still sitting there now. So yeah, so it's gone past it. It's gone past it. It's gone past the mandate level. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Right then. So wearing a mask. If your body's exhaling CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and you've got something in your airways to stop that from exhaling, then it's got to go somewhere, so it must be going back into the lung system through the airways. So that begs the question to if this is safe for you to actually legally wear. Now, you know the jurisdictions to it. Legally, that's the jurisdictions to it. It says quite clearly 5,000 close proximity. Well, that's fine, but they haven't done something called a risk assessment for either COVID-19 or for the wearing of masks outside or inside, to be that matter, because it will be inside classed in a close proximity. So I would then be recommending that everybody put a freedom of information in pertaining to the legislation on health and safety executive rulings that CO2 gas is detrimental to the human body and the exhale of it safely, because it cannot be safely exhaled if you have got something covering your airways. Well, you wouldn't disagree with that, Gary, would you?
No, absolutely.
Now that's what that machine does. It's counting down now, but it's turned itself off because it's got to a point where, because it kept beeping and beeping, obviously it's trying to tell you that you shouldn't be having this that close to you, the sensor that close to you. So it is going down. I mean, it's at 12 now in a minute. If I was to walk outside, look at there. It's dropped right down already. It's at 11. Yeah, it's going down now. Yeah, it's at 10. Well, 1,000, sorry. There you go, 961. See, that's just going there, so just to show you. There you go, it's just done it. So, there you go. That's it, it's down. So that's it. So it's still 823. So, 823,766. And on the rulings of this machine and this. See somewhere. Give it a second. Yeah, so we're sitting at 599, there you go, 599, and 599, 350 to 1000, which is there. It says it's concentration of occupied indoor spaces with good air quality. Anything over 1,000 is drowsiness and poor air quality. So really, technically speaking, anything over the 1,000 is detrimental to your health, really technically, even though they say you can walk to 5,000 in the workspace. So, yeah, so, right then, begs the question now that your government / Prime Ministers and whoever else have your best interests at heart. Now, I would say there was a fiduciary duty there of a duty of candour. That means that they are obligated, once you give them the freedom of information, to answer it within the legislation and jurisdictional requirements of 30 days, 20 days if it's a freedom of information, 30 days if it's a SAR. I would recommend everybody send a DSAR and a freedom of information pertaining to COVID-19 and its to prove that it's scientific and medical proof that it exists. And secondly, I do a freedom of information and a SAR pertaining to the CO2 exhaled from the body, which is the carbon dioxide, and the wearing of masks, because they've said it's compulsory, mandatory. They've called it mandatory, haven't they? It's a mandatory requirement to wear a mask in public, or should I say in shops and stores. So they are now wishing you harm legally under jurisdictions, which begs the question, they haven't got your best interests at heart. But don't take my word for it. Go do your research yourself. There's plenty of people out there, but it's the first one it's actually done on the CO2 levels, which is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is something naturally produced in the body. You have to exhale it out your body. Too much of it in the body and the bloodstream will kill you. That's it, simple. It's statutory. It's there. They've done legal documents and theses about this. Do your own research and actually understand what the government and those above are doing and conning everybody on this plane. It's a frightening concept, and I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, if they told you to jump off a bloody cliff, 99.9% of you would do it. Because the government told you it was in your best interest. That's a sad state of affairs.
In their best interest, you mean?
Well, in their best interest, yeah, that's what I'm saying, in their best. Well, that's because that's all to do with the custodian and the bailers and bailees. They're the custodians of the birth certificate, the legal construct. We know this, and that's how they get around this, because they deem it in their wisdom, under the legals of the jurisdictions of the birth certificate, which is copyrighted, patented by the Crown, HMSO, Her Majesty's Station Office. And they deem it in their interest to oversee you as a custodian. But only the fictional birth certificate, because on that it says this is not proof of ID. So it begs the question then, you have no contract with the dead, so you have no contract with a corporation. And we're meant to rule by consent. So if you don't consent to the legal fiction, then there is no contract, because no police officer can contract to the dead on the birth certificate, because they're dead already. But they need you to that's why they ask you for your name. So why would you give it to them ever? No contract, no consent.
Yep.
Because under the legislation of the Act, it's a police constable. But and I put a document up earlier there, it shows quite clearly that on their own Styles manual, that it's a police officer. Now, a police officer has no standings on the law of the land, but it is under the corporate side if he gets a contract via the willful participation of the individual who's willing to contract with them. Under the law, under the real law, innocent until proven guilty. You do not need to give any information, ladies and gentlemen, about anything. You don't have to. It's a legal requirement that does not need to be enforced by you, because you are entitled to your full wishes and expressions. If you refuse to answer, that's the law. Why would you indict yourself for anything? You just wouldn't do it, would you?
That's right.
But see, this is where the Duty of Candour comes in, which is the Golden Rules and Pre-Action Protocol and the Prime Directive. They've made all these legal legislation rules, and I love them. You've got to love them. And this is what gets them. This is it. So they send you a bill. Whatever. We'll take a bill first. And they say you owe us money because we're the creditor. You've asked. You send in the Freedom of Information and a SAR, and that's it, done. So legally now they are obligated under the Pre-Action Protocols and the Prime Directive to answer that. They don't do it. So that means that a duty of candour is now coming into play. And that means they're not fit for office. So they're not fit for office, so what are they doing there in the first place? But then, they'll ram you straight through court and then get a hedge fund / lawyer / liar, whatever you want to call them, barrister into court to claim against you. Well, you have no dealings with the barrister / lawyer. And not only that, he's now touched your data under the legals, which is a data controller and processor without your lawful consent. And they're going to say public interest. Now you understand about public interest, public safety, unfit for purpose. If they fail to answer it, then they lose that shielding from the government instantly. They lose it instantly. And it's so easy to catch them. I mean, it really is easy to catch them. You really need to understand what you're dealing with here. It's not real. You're making it real. Why would you live? You want to live your life the way you want to live it. Live it that way. You're not answerable to anybody. As long as you don't do any injury, harm, or any loss to anybody, then you are bound by no man. No man is above any other man in this country or anywhere. We're all equal in the eyes of God. We're made in His image, allegedly. So nobody's your master. The divine creator. I'll bend my knee to the divine creator, and that is the only one I'd ever bend to. The creator of all things. Why? He created everything. He earns that respect. But to anybody else, sorry, I won't be doing it. You choose to live your own life the way you want to live it. And that's the scary thing. People think that the sheep, I'm going to call them the sheep, think this is all normal. It's not normal. This is far from normal. This is dangerous. This is getting to a level now that people think this is normal, and it's not normal. You need oxygen to live. You need water and oxygen. Two of the fundamental rules of law, you need them in your body. Yes, you need them. Your body's made of 70% water, and you need oxygen to breathe. Through all that, you exhale gases, CO2, carbon dioxide. It needs to be expelled out of the body. We have trees that suck up all the carbon dioxide. That's their job. They're the filters. They are our natural filters on this plane. The trees, the plants, they're all there for that. Then they turn it back into oxygen for you. So it works in a balance with nature. Frightening concept what they've done to us. But anyway, would you like to say something, Gary?
No, I just agree with you.
Why? Well, why would you disagree with me?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
It's just I agree with me. Oh no, you don't have a wee chat or talk about something that's close to your heart.
Oh,
You don't need to be on the screen. You can talk. It can pick up the camera can pick up your voice. I think yes, it can't it? Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's all by consent.
Everything is by consent. This is what people don't understand. Councils. The minute a council, which they use the Local Government Finance Act, which is not bound by the county courts or the magistrates' courts, are they?
No.
But yet in their Styles manual, they are not allowed to pursue a enforcement debt. But how can they be a creditor? Explain that to me, because if there's a creditor, there must be a contract. And they have to produce it. So when asked to produce it and they don't, they are now failing their duty of candour. They have failed to express, as a custodian, the duty of candour. That makes for a very good argument in a court case, anywhere in the land. Same and all with banks, same and all with anything, no matter what it is. Once you ask the question, you're legally obliged to answer it. Then you're going to hear people saying, yeah, but they just ignore it and all that. Yes, they do, but you do have such people as the Attorney General and the Lord Chancellor, who's in charge of that domain, because they are the great keepers of the seal. Well, the Lord Chancellor is, as we're well aware. He's meant to keep the realm in one piece, fluently working through all jurisdictions.
So and the courts they take you to aren't magistrates' courts.
They're not real courts. The only real courts, if you want to call them real courts, is the Crown Courts and High Courts and the Supreme Courts. And that they are really strict. They will stick to the pre-action protocol. The pre-action protocol is the key to that argument. So if you get ruled against in a county court or a magistrate's court, common sense would tell you to do your due diligence and apply to appeal and use the rulings to appeal that. And you would win straight away. We do this all the time, Gary. You know we do this quite well, and we don't have any problems, do we?
Well, I won't go that far, but
we don't have problems. We discharge stuff. No, they keep changing. A corporation, Gary, / government change, legislation change, tax statutes come and go. They're changing the ballpark all the time. But the one thing that they are really bound by is something called the Duty of Candour, which binds them to everything, because they are the custodians of the birth certificate, not you, the legal fiction. That's what the custodians are. So this is where a lot of people, I've heard this over the years, people talking about the judge's role, your role, and the prosecutor's role. Oh, see, the judge. Everybody thinks the judge is a trustee, and then he reverses it over to you because you're the beneficiary. Then you become the trustee. Wrong. Absolutely 100% wrong. The job of a judge is a custodian. He oversees the argument of a trust. In question, the trust we're talking about here now would be that Sesquivet trusts.
the birth certificate.
The birth certificate, the legal fiction, Gary. There is two people inside that trust arguing about something. He is a custodian. His job is to listen to both sides of an argument of that legal fiction. Not of the man or the woman, because you're not meant to be there.
Because you're dead.
So this is where people get this wrong, and they're always going to get it wrong. They're always going to get this wrong. The judge is nothing more than a custodian of a trust, and the two people that are fighting in court usually is the defendant and the plaintiff. That are the two. And they are both trusts. So they're trustees. They're inside a trust that the custodian is overseeing, or a general executor, or a trustor, testor, with two needy trustees, because that's what they'd be, needy trustees. Something inside the trust is not happening. These two trustees have come forward and they're trying to dispute it. That's how it is, but that is exactly the same legally. And this is all this is. This is a legal fiction trust. This is nothing more than a trust. So when you walk into court, the one in front of you is the judge, who's a custodian, and whoever's against you is a trustee. And guess what? You are the trustee, because the man or the woman cannot answer in the court, they're dead. That's why they want you to have legal representation. Why would you ever get somebody to legally talk for you? You can talk for yourself legally.
Because the same.
That's the agent, that's the agent.
Yeah.
But the agent, if he understands how to interact with the system, will know how to do this really well, and that's where they're going to have the problem.
Because you're basically saying that you need an attorney because, or a barrister, whatever, because you're a ward of the state and you can't.
Well, you're dead, lost at sea, a ward of the state and a delinquent under the rules
and you're giving power
of
of
the
attorney.
Trust of the 1666. Yes, absolutely correct.
And you're giving power of attorney.
So once people understand that, once people stop talking about the free man of the land, stop talking about common law, stop talking about these things. They're not real. You're under something called a common law of an obligation. And it is a common law of an obligation. That is its official definition in law. The obligation arises when there's a claim against the trust. In other words, the fiction is brought to court because there's a complaint. Now that means that there's two trustees sitting in there. One is claiming that the other trustee has failed his due diligence and his obligation. Does that now make sense?
It does.
Do you understand how they've done what they've done? They're very clever what they've done. Stop walking into court and thinking that the judge is a trustee. He's not, he's a custodian. The other two individuals there is usually the defendant and the claimant. They are both trustees. That's it. Job done. He is supervising that dead trust of the 1666 Custody Act. That's all they're doing there. Which is via the birth certificate. Which is not proof of identification. So it begs the question, why do people not actually send in a letter going, how did you identify me on a SAR? I would like you to explain to me legally under the Data Protection Act and under the GDPR rules, how did you identify me? Because if you turn around and say it's for the birth certificate, you're implying slavery. Because the man and the fiction cannot work hand in hand. An agent can, but we'll get to that in a separate argument. See how this plays out really easily if you understand the rulings?
Yeah.
How did the corporation talk to a living man or woman? How did they get your identity? How did they do it if you're living?
Well, they can't contract with you because you're not a corporation.
How can they?
That's right.
How can they ever talk to you if you're living and they're dead?
Because the living can't talk to the dead.
The living cannot talk to the dead. Mortum men, dead hand.
Yeah, which is what all the Bible's talking about when it's talking about
the Bible talks about. The Bible has been misconstrued through centuries and centuries and centuries of time. It's man-written, it's handwritten, it's been altered and altered and altered. But there is bits of truth. If you read different origins of Bible for different periods, the same things keep coming forward, and that gives you a bigger, broader prospectus of an understanding of what they've done. Because under God's original law, and I'm not going about the Ten Commandments here, yeah, common sense would come into everything. Injury, harm and loss. That would come in, it's called common sense.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to do anything of the above mentioned if it's going to come back and retaliate on you. Why would you? Unless you're that way inclined, and not many people are. Maybe it's not.
Okay.
Oh, good to go again. I thought I just cut out there.
That was the end of it.
Oh, how long was
It
it?
cuts itself off after a certain period of time.
Alright, yeah. So, for clarification guys, this was just to do with the mask and the CO2. Right, I am going to put it on Expert in All Legal Matters, and I will put it on the link up to the YouTube channel, and Gary will put it on his channel and everything. I suggest you just look at it, understand what you're dealing with, and really understand what they're trying to do here. They are trying to bankrupt the working class people of every country, so you become serfs and debt slaves.
And they are in bankruptcy anyway, so they need.
They've already bankrupted you many times over. So when this, and don't be fooled that the stock exchange is not going to crash, and the banks are not going to crash, and everything's not going to tumble. It's already pre-planned. They've been talking about it for a long time. It is going to happen. And then they're going to have to go back to something that they've always used back in the day, was gold and silver. They're going to have to peg all nationality to gold and silver. The question will be then, who's actually got gold and silver? Because it'll get to a point where you won't be able to buy it. It'll get that expensive because it'll just shoot through the roof when this crashes.
You can't buy it now?
You can't buy it now, Gary. You're absolutely correct. You can't buy it now. It's very, very hard to actually acquire any silver. You can't get hold of any silver. I mean, you may get some gold now and again, but it's quite expensive. It's going up.
That's right.
So, pre-warning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not doing this to call anybody a delinquent. It's called common sense. Common sense tells you, your gut tells you, there's something fundamentally wrong with the system. It's past its sell-by date, and all them in charge are not fit for purpose. It's actually embarrassing to have them claim to have some sort of interest in your well-being. That's the scary part here. That's the bit that annoys me. Hence why I've done this video, and Gary's been too kind for me to come all the way down and do this. So,
which is why they get you to vote. So you're agreeing to them.
Absolutely, they get you to vote, so you're legally contracted through the birth certificate.
So send the voting registry and go and say that you don't want to vote anymore.
You need to come off everything legal, get rid of all debt, get rid of it. But the best way to protect yourself under their acts and statutes is protect yourself and ask the questions under the Freedom of Information and the DSAT. Trust me, if done right, if worded perfectly, under the legislation and the rules, they will find this very hard to pursue this through any kind of court. And if they do, you can always appeal it, and I guarantee you'll win. And it'll become, what they'll use is, they will use a point in law. They will say that this is not for the public interest because it can be classed as case law. Why case law? Because they do not want the public understanding rules to this. Technicalities, you got off in a technicality, and we don't need to talk about it. The technicality would be case law because it's in the interest of the people not to know about the truth. They don't want you to know the truth. I'm not telling you to believe me or not. That's entirely up to you. The website is absolutely massive. There's a lot of information for all different areas, covering all different subjects, but we try to keep it as accurate and as possible with a wide scope of different people's views. Make your own choice. Have a look at it and see what you want to do. But trust me, doing nothing is not going to help you either way. Well, I'll call it that, Gary. We're happy with that.
That's great. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome, buddy. You can turn it off now. Have a nice day.